Love it. Let's do it.
All right, so today's guest is someone I've been excited to sit down with. Abukar was one of those students who every campus hopes for. The kind you can rely on without hesitation. If you needed someone to show up for a video, to offer thoughtful perspective on a project, to MC an event, to help create momentum around an initiative, Abukar was there. Not just present, but prepared, more than involved, invested. He graduated from the University of Utah's David Eccles School of Business with a degree in business administration and management and a minor in information systems, and he did it as a business scholar, which speaks to both academic excellence and intellectual curiosity. He was also named a 2022 Voyager Scholar for Public Service, one of only 100 students nationwide selected for that inaugural cohort, an honor that signals not just achievement but purpose. During his time at the University of Utah, he served as a presidential intern in the Office of Academic Affairs, one of just 10 students representing the student voice at the highest level of university leadership. He later became president of the Student Alumni Board, where he worked to build a culture of giving on campus and help students understand the significance of the institution in their formation of their alumni identity. He co-founded Oak River Group and serves as the chief operating officer, leading operations across e-commerce, retail, and brand development, including national platforms like Amazon and Walmart. He's spearheading U.S. market entry for international brands. He's building something. He's one of those students whose trajectory you're simply excited to watch, so I'm grateful he's here. Let's get to it.
That was an amazing intro. I think you hyped me up way too much, and I'm not that cool.
But an appropriate amount. It was an appropriate amount of hype, and I'm gonna like anchor all of that in like a real and true story that I'm sure you know in passing, but I think it's important to share. So, when I moved to Fargo, North Dakota, I showed up to NDSU and was getting to know cabinet members and deans. And one of the things somebody told me early on was, "We've always wanted to do a Friendsgiving for our students. We've never known how to do it." And so I had just had the opportunity to do a Friendsgiving with Abukar at the University of Utah. And we literally rinse and repeated everything Abukar envisioned, and took all of the work that we had done there and just ported it to NDSU. And we've done our third annual Friendsgiving. That is a thing I was able to bring to North Dakota from Utah that you had a vision for. And I didn't even talk about that in your introduction. So everything in your introduction is true, and I could have said more. So thank you for all of the things that you touch and the ways that they grow and scale. I think that's awesome, and I'm glad you're here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. So, first question. When you look back at your journey so far, who saw something in you before you fully saw it in yourself?
Ooh, I love it. It's a first banger. Honestly, I think it goes back to a rooted story, going back to my family. We migrated to Salt Lake City, Utah, a single mother, 7 of us, right? And we came in a very untraditional route to America. We're originally from Egypt, hot, pyramids. Think about your traditional camel. I mean, your vivid imagery to mountains, snow, largest winter storm. I'm wearing some shorts. My mother's like, all right, let me, give you this extra jacket. I mean, complete opposite change. But growing up in an environment like that where we had literally nothing, and we're figuring out how to navigate a new system, a new language, a new community, new neighbors. My mother has to be the person to instill that belief, not only in myself, but now she had that goal and mission to also instill it upon all my siblings. And I remember, it's a very funny story, and we'll always remember. We were at a grocery store, and at that time I had, maybe a few toys, not a lot. And there was a specific fire truck, a nice red fire truck. Really wanted it, right? I can't remember the exact price, but I remember grabbing that. I'm like, and I knew, we were not living substantial for my mom's like, all right, let's go ahead and get you a new fire
Yep.
truck. But she's like, hey, well, I guess so. Let me get this kid his fire truck. And I was telling her the reason why I want this fire truck is because I want to be a firefighter. I mean, just making up some dumb stories. But she fell for it, and she bought that fire truck. And I remember I'm like, all right, I want to be a firefighter. So as she's cleaning the kitchen and all that, she'll put soap and water. I'm like, all right, fight firefighter, right? So it's very cute. But I mean, from that early stage of where small imagination and my mother encouraging me, I think came from that.
I love that. How old were you when you came to Salt Lake?
4.5, 5.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
little baby.
That's amazing. And so where in the birth order of your siblings are you?
So I like to say basically I got 5 or 6 mothers, including my mom. So I got 5 older sisters, then me, then my younger brother. And so I'm basically the baby of the family, and I love it.
You either didn't get away with anything or you got away with everything, and I want to know which it is.
It depends on what the scenario was. I will for sure say I did not get away from a lot of things. I think they had to compromise a lot because they're outnumbering us. Where we had everything kind of handed to us because we're a little bit
Yeah.
younger and
Yep.
we're the younger brothers. But at the same time, if they did something that got them in trouble, I mean, there's no conversation. You're not doing it. That's it, right?
Yep.
So that
Yep.
was like a little like, all right, can I do this? Nope, you can't because your sister did that and it didn't turn out too great. So a little combination.
We're grateful for the siblings that came before us.
Absolutely.
So you talked a little bit about what mentorship looked like in your like family life growing up. Where else did you kind of see mentorship modeled for you as you aged?
Yeah. I think some of the early stages was at Sunday school for me. I remember I wasn't the best student growing up. Far opposite than what you probably see me in college. I mean, dramatic. I mean, it was to the point where I would run away from school. I would be hiding in lockers under the table. I remember this very vivid story where I was telling my mother the other day. I'm like, "Do you remember when this happened?" Uh, I for some reason I thought it would be funny enough to bring 5 kids together and still the entire. I mean, it's pretty cool, right? We were planning it out, thinking Diary of a Wimpy Kid. The book was a very cool thing to have during elementary school. So myself and a few other friends, we thought it would be a great idea to basically go to the bookstore during parent teacher conference and steal about 100 books. Uh, did not turn out that well, and from there we figured out quickly, hey, that's not the right idea. But the reason why I shared this story is I would go to Sunday school, and I was one of those kids. I didn't care to be there. I didn't want to be there. You know, religion aside, it was just not for me. I didn't like school. Why would I
Hmm.
go an additional day outside of 5 days of school? I was in extracurricular activities. I had a huge a problem with English and even my own native language, or I just didn't want to do anything. And at that time, I met a mentor of mine, and so it was a dad and his son, both being volunteers at that Sunday school. The father was, a typical immigrant story from Pakistan, and then his son had this American dream of taking his family to the next level. So very resembling to what I wanted to do for my own family, and he did that also through entrepreneurship and growing up. I mean, Saturday 5 p.m. the TV is on and everybody knows don't mess with me. I'm watching Shark Tank. So watching that to seeing that person very close, I think that was my very first kind of mentor person in my life.
I love that there's a huge personal, familial kind of identity connection to that.
Right.
And I'm going to just actually loop over that to Shark Tank. Because I think, and you're younger than I am, but like we have access to some incredible people who we get to watch how their mind thinks, how they kind of process the math of a deal, who they do or don't do business with. Is that I want to talk about that. I want to talk about 5 p.m. and Shark Tank being on. Like, what are you watching for? What are you seeing? What are the things that stick out to you?
I can nerd out for hours on this,
Uh-huh.
but one of my favorite things about Shark Tank, I mean, the idea of someone to sit there, come up with an idea, launch the idea, find funding for an idea, take that idea, go in front of millions of people. You present it. Before that, I'm assuming, there's directors, there's pre-scenes. You get selected out of hundreds of applicants. Now you're presenting to 5 of some of the most, top entrepreneurs in the world, and you launch your product. Some of the ideas, don't get me wrong, till this day, I don't understand what the heck they're doing, but the ability for someone to take a simple idea and truly turn it into a business is crazy. And the other day I was talking to my friend about this. There's, for instance, Scrub Daddy was one of the big ones
Mm-hmm.
I remember vividly.
Yep.
And we sell a lot on Amazon, and so they're a brand that we kind of look into a lot. And I'm looking at it, and I mean their numbers are crazy. Ring, the doorbell. I mean, the products are consistent. Like it's a small, simple idea launched from their homes, their communities to a national brand that. I mean, you ask an average American, hey, do you know what a Ring doorbell is? 99% of the chance it's gonna be yes. So I think it was just brilliant and awesome to see how a small idea can turn into that huge of a franchise.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I think like I have a undergrad in business that has been great. So when I say this, all of the credit to my degree. I don't think I understood how valuations for companies were formed until
Right.
I was watching Shark Tank. Like, oh, this many dollars for this percentage of your company. Like,
And in 2 seconds too, right? It's like, oh,
we just
Billy, I'm like,
doing
how
math.
are you doing this? How are you doing this? What's going on? What am I missing here?
Like, hold on. And I
Right,
think like for those of us, like I would define myself as somebody who really needs to see something to be able to like learn it.
for sure.
And that Shark Tank gave you repetition on how to pitch or how to promote or how to understand even these concepts. And I just appreciate you bringing up Shark Tank because I think that matters a lot.
Absolutely. I love that show, and it feels like I'm in my own little Shark Tank pitching my own ideas to myself, but it's something I love forever.
Who's your favorite shark?
I launched my first company when I was 16. Damien has to be the person because I read his book, but I love Mark Cuban. I mean, what he's done is phenomenal as well.
I feel like the minute I asked that question, you know that did you ever watch The Office?
Yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah.
that scene where Andy is like asking Robert California who his favorite Iron Chef is? And he's like, you don't even understand the question. It depends entirely on the cuisine. Like, who's your favorite
Right.
chef? Or who's your favorite shark? Like, depends entirely on what is being pitched and what the venture is. Tell me about what you launched when you were 16.
Yeah, I mean, so like I said, we didn't grow up very privileged. So I remember growing up, we didn't have a lot for some reason. I don't want to say obligation, but it felt like I had to do something about it. And I think primarily a lot of that was Shark Tank, to be honest. Seeing the stories that were coming on there. I remember there's a 9-year-old who pitched on there. I'm like, dude, I mean, if that kid can do it, why can't I, right? And so at that time, we had this really fat, chunky computer at our house because I mean it was my mom got it. I think it donated to her, but that's all we had. But it would take about 30 minutes to boot up, and once it's finally booted up, after you enter your password, it takes you another 15 minutes just to get on the web. So an absolute nightmare to use that. But on there, some of the first thing I was searching up was how to make $100,000. And for some reason, that was the magical number. That was the number I wanted to hit. And I thought 100,000, and it is a lot of money. And I'm like, hey, let me see if I can make that kind of money. And so there are two main things I saw. One was marketing and e-commerce. And I'm like, well, I don't know what either of these words mean, but let's Google it. So I keep searching it up and learning more about it. And at that time, I used to collect hundreds of hats. I mean, I would save up all of my dollars. I would mow people's lawns. I'd make $20, $30, and collect hats. These NBA collective hats. But there's some value in those. I mean, you bought some from eBay, and if you sell it on eBay again and you kept it for a while, you can make $40 or $50, depending on the edition and so forth. And so I'm like, all right, I love fashion. I read the book from Damien, How to Basically Start Something Without Anything, I believe is a title. I got that from my first mentor, and he says you should read this book. And I told him, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm a 15, 16-year-old, not gonna read a book, man. I'm not good at school, was not good at school. Why are you asking me to read a book? So then he orders the book, sends it to my house, and tells me, hey, I sent it to your house. You better read this book. And I'm like, well, this guy I kind of went out of his way. I kind of got to read the book now. And I didn't read it. And I think it was a couple of weeks later, he randomly asked me a question like, what do you think about this? And it was so specific that I didn't know the answer. And he did that on purpose to test out if I actually read the book. And he's like, I'm disappointed. Like he was showing me kind of a disappointment,
Mm-hmm.
which got me. I wasn't scared, but I was disappointed that he went out of his way to go do that. Why am I not reading the stupid book? Right. And so I go read the book anyways, and you hear the story of Fubu, how Damien launched that in the back of his trunk in Brooklyn, New York. very similar story of a single mother like myself that I grew up with, and I mean turns that company to several million dollars. The guys on Shark Tank, I'm like, dude, phenomenal. So I go online, I'm finding local shirt shops, all that. I go there. Our family is Middle Eastern, so I speak Arabic. And so at that time, Supreme was extremely popular. So what I did was I would take these Gildan $5 shirts. I would like do this copy and paste on there in Arabic, very similar font, red box logo, and I started placing this on Facebook. And now I'm just getting sales like boom, ching, ching, ching. I'm using my mom's Facebook. I'm like, well, I don't want to have my mom's Facebook on this. I better launch my own Facebook on and start doing this a little bit bigger. I learned what SEO was. I learned optimization, and this is all from my mom's living room. And I go from maybe doing 5 a month to now I'm doing 50 a week. Then I'm doing 100 sales a week, and now I'm like, oh my goodness! I remember there was we were living that time near like Lower Avenue kind of area.
Yeah.
And there was this UPS truck coming, USPS coming. So our neighbor pretty much snitched us out, saying these guys are running a business in their home, which they're not allowed to. Back then and now, the time difference are. I mean, yeah, you can run a business from your home.
Yeah. Yeah. But that was some beef.
Yeah. And the ordinance, I mean, apparently we had packages coming and it was taking up too much space, and the UPS driver was coming in and out a lot. And so I learned a lot from that. And so I remember I was going to school that day. My mom and there's one other lady we hired. The business starts growing. I had my first 6 figures in my life. I'm like I'm doing what I've ever dreamt about.
Yep.
My mom is not
Yep.
stressing out anymore about bills.
Yep.
And I get home and I have a nice stack of paper sitting there. I'm getting sued, but what now is a $1 billion brand that got bought out by Louis Vuitton because I copyright infringed on their product. And the craziest thing about this whole story is it was actually my aunt who posted on Facebook simply saying, shout out this kid's brand, like go,
Yep.
support him, all that, gets nice likes, huge increase in our thing, randomly blows up at Meta, right? And or Facebook. And at that time, it did the numbers that we
Yep.
wanted, but somebody from there saw it, said, hey, what's going on here? And my mother was facing some litigation. I was underage and got very lucky, but that was my very first rodeo.
Yeah.
Head first to a company.
Well, and I feel like there's like a million things you said that I want to talk about. That is the story, right? And I think like back to you trying to say anything about your intro, like I could have said so much more. But I feel like you learned early the reality of consequences, right?
Very early.
And like, I just feel like this is one of those things, like either you have the opportunity to do that or you don't. And for me, who is somebody who has a pretty reasonable appetite for risk, I don't want to work with someone who hasn't navigated some of that hardship. So what's like one takeaway that you learned in that instance that you were like, hey, this is a thing I know now?
One, I mean, don't copy someone's brand, but the biggest part I learned was, I mean, when you're 16, the first thing you think about and you make some decent money is how do you become flashy and how do you make yourself seem like you're cool. I mean, we never had this kind of money, right? And you're 16 and you're barely, figuring out life. And so what I did was, it was pretty stupid, and I would spend money on, designer clothing, all the do not do's until you can afford that a few times. But what I learned from there was I thought I was too cool to not only enjoy the moment. For example, it would be morning early. I'm kind of grinding for maybe 30 minutes. Go to school my mom would not let me drop out, so I have to go to school.
Thanks, Ma. Thanks, Ma. Thanks, Ma.
I appreciate her a lot for that. And I would come home and I would not do any extracurricular activities. I didn't want to be involved in high school. I didn't want to, I thought I was too cool because I was making some money. And it destroys you as a person because it's like, dude, who do you think you are? You're 16 and you think you're a know-it-all because you got lucky. And I did get lucky. I got tremendously lucky. And I found that out, after I launched my second company. And it humbled me very quickly. And what are the biggest things you learn, especially in entrepreneurship, your first dollar earned isn't your last dollar earned, and that last dollar earned isn't going to be ever that last dollar received or promised. And so you learn a lot when you're in this kind of stage of growth and you launch a new brand or new company. There's a lot of learning curves for me, I think, from that moment.
Yeah. I love that. That's so real, relevant, applicable, all of those things. I want to go back to, like, I think one of the things that's been this is the 10th episode. Congrats, number 10. Ayo.
Cool.
One of the things that has come up repeatedly in conversations I've had with students and professionals for all of time and
Right.
has got brought up in these episodes is like, is my mentor going to tell me what to do? And what do I do in that circumstance? Or are they going to be wrong? And everyone I've talked to has been like, yeah, that's not really how a healthy mentoring relationship is supposed to be. And I feel like you painted such an accurate picture of this person saw you, this person knew you, this person sent you a book. You didn't read it. They asked you a question you couldn't fake your way through, and it didn't feel good.
Right.
That is not the same as a mentor telling you what to do. Like, that is so much more the norm, right? Of like, I have this bar. Like, I think you could be here, and you are not meeting my expectations for you. And like, those are weighty situations to be in.
Absolutely. I mean, he believed in me more than I believed in myself. I'm like, I don't know what the heck you see in me, man. For you to go out there, buy a book, and send it to my house. And the way he did it was also very unique, right? He didn't ask me. He's like, "What's your address?" I'm like, and I give him my address. He's like, "All right, in 2 days," and he sends from Amazon. He's like, "In 2 days, you're gonna receive a package. When you receive that package, email me a photo of you holding that." Like, you're crazy. And I got that, and I didn't even email him. And I'm like, dude, why did you send me a book to my house? He's like, what do you mean, why did I send you a book? He says, you wanted to be, you told me you love Shark Tank. You told me you want to be an entrepreneur. I know your life story. Read the damn book. So, in mentorships, I've had horrible stories of mentorships too, right? Where it's like, they're doing it just because they kind of have to,
Yep.
or they're doing it to kind of, hey, let me make myself feel better. And then you have a guy like this doesn't really benefit from it, just wanted to help me out. And so, I mean, it's really unique to see the different types of mentorship people receive.
Yeah. I love that. I love that so much. I know Patrick has similar stories of mentors like that in his life. I have similar stories like that. And like, that is the dream, is someone setting a bar for you because they know more about you than you know about yourself. And that doesn't mean they know how you're going to do it, but they
Right.
know you can do it. And I think that's a really beautiful thing.
100%.
Okay. All right. I'm just going to get back on track because I went on a whole trajectory, which I loved. So you were deeply involved on campus. Wait, hold on. I can't jump to campus yet. Talk to me about high school to college. What did that look like for you?
Yeah, so when I after that finished off and I'm like, all right, what is the next journey in my life? I felt like I was a failure.
Hmm.
And I was really harsh on myself, I think, at that time. And my mom was like, dude, go be a freaking kid. Like, go do what you're supposed to do, which is, be involved if you can, and all that. And so I remember at that time, I'm like, all right, what can I do that I enjoy? And I was into sports and I loved sports. Not great at it. I was okay at it. So I tried out for basketball. I got barely accepted on the team. Somehow, some way ran for a student body president, won that. But one of my favorite things I loved doing was something my mother would do was on Sundays was like her only Sabbath free day, don't bother me kind of day. But even that day was a day of giving for her. And
Hmm.
what I mean by that is you would have 30 random ladies in your house and they're all calling you, you've grown so much, sweetie. Like you never met them in your life. And my mom was teaching them how to cook healthier. Doesn't need to. She herself is struggling, but for some reason, she grew up in a mindset where you can be one of two people. You can be one who extends their arm to constantly receive, or one who extends their arms to constantly give. And so, growing up in that environment, I fell in love with what was called basically public service. That was not even called public service in our house. It was just called Sunday. My mom is crazy. It's on her day off. Let's see what she wants to do today, right? And so I would see that and I resembled that in high school. And so I started Interact Club at my local high school where we launched a few projects. one of my favorite projects we launched was called Captain Underpants. And what we would do is I created, it was a random thing. I sketched out literal Captain Underpants
Uh-huh.
because we went to this homeless shelter. They told us, hey, we don't want food. We don't care for food. And you're just talking to these people
Hmm.
regularly. We want fresh, brand new underwear.
Yeah.
Random, very specific. I'm like, all right, I mean, how hard is it to get a few of those? So I'm like, what's a funny way to kind of do this
Yep.
to get our school engaged? How do you get 17-year-olds to bring new underwear to school? So yeah, I created this project called Captain Underpants. You put a box in front of it that looked like an underwear with Captain Underpants.
Amazing.
And holy crap, I mean, huge success. We had 300 underwears donated to us within 2 weeks. So we took that idea, put it to other schools, and same idea. It was to a point where the shelter said, hey, can you stop giving us underwear? So we knew we accomplished something. But during that moment, I learned, entrepreneurship is one thing, but there are other ways to be an entrepreneur, which is solving
Yeah.
other people's problems. And at that time, I remember I was student body president, and I was running SBO Interact Club, and I was involved with basketball. And at that time, my mom wanted me to learn two other languages, right? So kind of crazy, hectic schedule for a high schooler. Top of that, no butts, no coconuts. You're going to college, kid. Figure it out. So I'm like, all right, kind of crazy. And one of the jobs my mother had at that time was she was a janitor at the University of Utah
Yeah.
and cleaning up at the dormitory. She's like, one day instead of me cleaning these dormitories, I hope it's you that I'm helping move in. So that was kind of like a weird thing stuck in my head as a vision.
Yeah.
So I applied for the University of Utah, and I got early like decision, whatever, and I got rejected. And I'm
Hmm.
like, what did I do wrong? I know I'm not the best student in the world, but what is it I'm missing? I was missing, I guess it was a math course at that time. So I went to Slick, I enrolled in that, showed them that proof, applied for Business Scholar, finally got accepted. I'm thinking me getting accepted Business Scholar was, it's a great program, it's prestigious, but I didn't know now my tuition would also become more expensive. I didn't
Hmm.
know the difference between scholarship
Yep.
and a small stipend basically to help
Right.
off costs. So I'm thinking I hit the jackpot. I didn't. And at that time, the pandemic also hit.
Yep.
Senior year, we set up prom. I remember I'm leaving school. Our principal calls me and she's like, "Hey, can you come back to school and take everything down? I don't know when the next time we're coming back is." I'm like,
Yep.
"What are you talking about?
Yep.
Like, what's going on?" Weird moment in our lives. Everything's on pause. Uh, I go up to a virtual event for a program called First Ascent. And First Ascent, I didn't know what it was about. This guy tells me to apply. I talk to these two other girls in the program. I have 48 hours to submit my application to even be considered. I had to find two letter of recommendations.
In like
When I
no
went to
time.
write it, no time, literally. Thank God the pandemic hit. I had
Yeah.
way too much time in my hand.
Yep.
And in 48 hours, somehow, some way, got two letter recommendations, submitted the application, which later on got me a full ride basically to the University of Utah. And that's how I got to college,
Yeah.
which is a crazy route.
And I love higher education. Things that my husband and my daughter and my dog all know is that higher ed is the love of my life. And like for me, we were moving to Utah as the world was shutting down. Like this is where our stories like really intersect. And similar to you, dude, we moved into this basement 2-bedroom apartment because we were moving to Utah, so we'd never be home.
Right.
And we moved in March of 2020, and in fact, we're home all the time. And I had a desk set up in my closet because I didn't want my office to be in my bedroom. But everybody was at their computers. No one was traveling.
Yep.
And similar to you, like my career at the University of Utah would not have been the same outside of the pandemic. And so I appreciate the wounded in me sees the wounded in you, the opportunity in me sees the opportunity in you. Like, thank you.
Absolutely.
Just I First ascent's an important thing. And I think just even ensuring access to education is an important thing. That like I wouldn't have been able to get my master's without the University of Utah. You wouldn't have been at the University of Utah without First Ascent, business scholars, all of these things. Education's important. Your mom knew that. I appreciate that. Thank you, Ma.
Absolutely. Till this day.
So tell me before I ask you like collegiate questions, where What did your like coming out of the pandemic collegiate like? Were you on campus? Were you on campus and remote? Like, what did that look like?
So part of the First Ascent Scholarship Program, you're required to live on campus. It's a weird moment. I mean, it's pandemic. My mom's like, "You're living on what? You're going where? You're moving out of the household?" Like, it's none of my siblings moved out. They were all at home. They all went to a community college and went to a university. Very opposite trajectory of where I was heading in my life. And my mother was like, "Do you have to do this, dude? Like, it's a pandemic. Like, stay home. Like, what are you gonna do on campus?" I'm like, "No, it's gonna happen, and I have to do this." So I move upper campus of university, and so you get placed into a house, 12 other people that you've never met in your life.
Like the houses up by like Fort Douglas.
Yep, officer
Okay. Yep.
circle. And I'm like, "All right, 12 people you never met. You have a random roommate." And you know what the craziest part of this whole thing is? So at that time, me and my brother, I love my brother. He's 2 years younger than me, but we would always have this sibling banter, right? And my mom's crazy idea was, well, if you guys can't handle being brothers, the best way you can do is you guys can live in the same room together. So before I moved off to college, me and him were sharing rooms, although I had the opportunity to have my own space. But she did that on purpose.
I love your
And
mother. I would just like to pause and say, like,
yeah,
just shout out to your ma. I'm obsessed with her. It's fine.
yeah, she's like, "You know what? You guys have problems. Let me fix the problem by causing more problems, basically." Great, fantastic. Figure it out. But what he would do is he thought it was funny. He would watch YouTube videos of horror movies of dorm roommates and would send it to me, right?
Bro.
Like, roommate got killed by his roommate on his dorm. I'm freaking out moving into college dorms.
Right?
I'm thinking moving into my dorm that my potential new roommate is a murderer, literally in my head. And my mom's like, "Yeah, well, your brother's texting you. It's probably accurate." I'm like, "Mom, what are you doing? Like, you're not helping." And she's watching all these, like, she's trying to convince me to stay home, thinking I had the choice, really, but I
You had
didn't.
no choice.
I had to actually move in there. Turns out my roommate is an average human being and, not a murderer, went to
Love this
school.
for you. Yep.
Yeah, and I'm like, "All right, I'm sleeping with one eye open, like, all right, when is he gonna attack me, right?" But I lived there my freshman year, and holy crap, it was a show. And what I mean by that is you're doing testing every day or every week at least. We had 2 outbreaks in our house. I remember, like, how do you make friends on campus?
Right.
Like, isn't this the whole purpose? You
Right.
can't talk to your 12 roommates because there's the social distancing. When you're eating, you gotta take off your mask and eat. And if you don't, we would get written up.
Mhm.
And I mean, it was. And the crazy thing is, I remember one of the craziest story was somebody in our house caught the pandemic. They moved them to a university housing.
Mhm.
I'm like, "Well, what's the point? Well, we are all living in the same house, although we all tested negative. Do we have to quarantine?" So quarantine was a weird thing. Anyways, it was a weird, funny moment to be on campus
Yeah.
freshman year.
No, it was a crazy era. And like in advancement, we weren't student facing. And so like we knew we would be among the last to come back.
Right.
But my real on campus experience during that era was helping with the VP debate. And so that was really when, like, you go into Rice Eccles and getting tested in the morning before you could go help the thing. And like, I remember taking, like the forehead thermometer of like Secret Service people coming in and out of like Kingsbury Hall.
Right.
Like that was a crazy era. And so I'm super excited that we have talked about that because I think genuinely if people did not live through that, there is just not enough understanding of the chaos that was. So yeah, that's a real thing. So
Yeah.
as things progressed, you were incredibly involved on campus. How did you pick what things you wanted to be involved with?
Well, first off, I failed at that time. I launched another brand in between also college and high school. I failed tremendously. I'm like, "Well, business is not for me." And I applied for First Ascent as a business scholar and business scholar, business programs. And in an immigrant household, you have 4 options. You're going to be a lawyer, a doctor, engineer, or a lawyer. And my answer at that time was no, 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 right? Like, I'm not doing any of that. Not for me, not going to do it. But for some reason, I'm going to college thinking I'm a failure, although I just received a full ride scholarship. I'm living in a dorm for free meals. My books are paid for. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's one of the best opportunities of my life. But for some reason, my mind thought my success was based on the money I was making freshman year of college. And it's like, dude, relax. It's not that
Yep.
crazy. So I pivoted. I went to, during the craziest moments of people's lives, my ideology was how can I learn the most during this craziest moment? And the best way to do it was I went and applied for the hospital. So I started working at Intermountain Healthcare for a primary children's hospital, and I was working with these, I mean, sad environment. I mean, you see kids who are 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, and I was working culinary services. Basically, I would go to the kitchen, take their food, take it to the patient room.
Yep.
And each room before you go in there, you put these gowns on
Mm-hmm.
to make sure the kids are not sick, we're not sick,
Mm-hmm.
so forth. But one, I couldn't last that long because several other problems. I remember, I don't know if I'm supposed to share the story, but screw it. I was walking around and I gave a tray to one of the rooms. I leave the room extremely frustrated. And at that time, the CEO of Intermountain was walking around and asking people their thoughts on what their jobs are. Mind you, at that time, that hospital, I think the hospital till this day, they're one of the largest nonprofits, at least in the state of Utah, and they donate millions of dollars. But one of my coworkers was a single mom who was working two jobs because this job wasn't paying her enough.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, we would be working, we're risking our lives for our families to put money on our
Mm-hmm.
pockets. We didn't have AC in our hospital. So the guy asked me, "Hey, do you have 5 minutes to talk?" I'm like, "No, I don't have time." And I just completely blow away the CEO in a
Mm-hmm.
rude awakening kind of to him. He's like, "What's wrong with this kid? Like, why did you want?" I was like, my exact words were, "If I were to tell you the amount of problems this hospital had, you would need to require several different days." And that was the exact words to, I didn't know who the CEO was, and it was not great. It was like, I need to know who that kid is, and I need to have time to meet with him. And so I'm delivering my last tray, and my boss at that time says, "Hey, um, the CEO is here and wants to talk to me." I'm like, "Who's the CEO?" She's like, the guy I guess who talked to you upstairs. I'm like, "Oh, I'm getting
Oh,
fired." Right?
yeah.
My first actual job
Uh-huh.
ever, and first month in, and not a great idea. And I go in there and I pretty much told them how it was. I'm like, I know what Intermountain stands for because at that time they give you pamphlets. I
Oh
didn't
yeah. You're freshly trained. You know all the
yeah.
things.
I'm like XYZ, you guys give all that. I'm like, how's it fair for this, that? And I named AC, our pay, our how we're risking our lives. He raises every single person there. We get an AC unit in the kitchen. He asked, "Hey, do you want to come intern in our office?" I said, "No, I'm done. I quit that in 2 weeks." But everyone got raised and everyone got a brand new AC in that facility. It was a win. And the reason why I quit wasn't because, you know, hey, this is fantastic, but it was just a sad environment for me. I couldn't do
Yeah.
it. And I knew medical field was not for me.
Yeah.
And so the way I start to decide on what I wanted to be involved in was I would be that random kid showing up to events that I wasn't invited to.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I would go, at that time it was Business Leaders Incorporated, which is the equivalent to Business Student Government, random private events or whatever. I would just walk in and I would ask people, "What are you doing in college? What are you studying? What are you involved in?" And everyone
Mm-hmm.
would either say, and I thought Business Student Government was the coolest thing ever. I'm like, "You get paid to do what? Throw events?" Right? So I started, for my first goal was like, I gotta bring some money in. So I applied for that, got involved in there. From there, being any leadership at I think in the business school, you get to learn and talk to other people.
Yeah.
And my goal was be the biggest soaker of all these seniors,
Yup.
right? What did you do? What are you on? What boards are you? What's going on? The coolest stories, the coolest organizations I would apply for. I got declined on a lot. My dream job on campus, which is crazy to say, was to work for parking services, and I got declined 4 times. Uh, and I don't know why to this day. It's and I've gotten probably the most tickets on campus,
U of
but
U parking. We got beef. Okay, good to
we got
know.
beef. We got beef. I got fired. I never got hired, and so, but I really chose organizations that I got good recommendations from people who are older than me, who I saw, like, for example, I think it was Jen was really involved, Taylor Van Tulen, you see other people from Business Scholar. I'm like, all right, what have you done? What's your next goal in life? Where are you going? And if I even had a small interest in that, I would try to get involved in what they were doing. And so that's how I chose my organizations.
I want to pause and shout out the CEO of Intermountain Health. Thank you for being able to be clapped back at. Thank you for making change. Because that is not how everyone responds to that situation. And so I want to pause and acknowledge that. I also think, like, where better than a college campus to be like, oh, this is a place I can absorb. And I'll tell you, even 2 weeks ago in class, I had somebody say, well, I want to reach out to this person, but I don't know if they'll give me the time. And the professor looked at all of us and said, if you tell them you're a student, they will say yes to you. And, like, I think that is my advice, right? Professionally, personally, academically, you're in spaces where people want to be involved. So ask and find out those things and try. And, like, I think even, like, you got denied 4 times from parking. Like, can you handle being told no? Right. We got to try. Right. And I'm not trying to live half a life, I guess, right? Like, sit here and wonder what could have been. That does nothing for me. Anyway, okay. Absolutely. I obviously could talk to you for like 10 hours. So I'm gonna ask you some more questions, and we're gonna keep talking about things, and then I'm gonna let you go. Okay, so you were in rooms with a lot of leaders, and I don't just mean the hallway of Intermountain Health. I mean, like, rooms I was in, you were in. How did being in rooms with senior leadership change how you think about mentorship or engagement at the executive level?
Yeah, I mean, great question. One of the, I think, coolest opportunity I got to learn this at a younger age in college was, your rooms like people like you, Brandy. I mean, I had the lucky privilege of being an intern for the president's office, and so I would go sit in these board meetings that are like university level things, and at that time also I was running a campaign to become the next student body president group, and so we got invited to a lot of random meetings and see if we were qualified to do that. And one of the things I saw continuously, what separated the people who were, I think, at the highest level of leadership compared to somebody who might have, had a simple role that's still a leadership role, was one, the commitment they were willing to make, the time that they were willing to place in, and not caring what other people thought or were thinking about. And I'm once again, I'm super privileged enough to even witness some of the people I saw. For example, I mean, I was in a room, I was academic affairs, and I was watching. I was sitting the front desk, basically being receptionist. So you would see professors coming in, directors of different programs like director of finance, director of language arts, all these different directors, the deans of these different schools coming and having to meet with the VP of our university, and you'd have 10 minutes to talk to them, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, right?
It is the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah. I'm like, I can talk to these people, and it's not crazy. I'm like, oh, just give me 10 minutes. I'm like, would you like a cup of coffee or water? While I'm giving this to you, let me ask you like 15 questions in 5 minutes before, because I know you don't got time. And from there, I got to really meet cool people who I saved their numbers and contacts. But then from there, I'm like, for some reason, I'm like, I just have to ask this. I'm like, is there any way possible I can go sit in the president's office and be the receptionist there? And the answer was yes. Well, you asked, you received, right? I'm like, holy crap, like an upgrade now too, right? So now you see at even a higher level the type of people who are coming in to meet with the university, from expansion to development to raising capital to he's meeting with other people from the university level. And I remember seeing, I call her Mama Teresa, and the right hand to the president. And she's running every way, like, what's going on? What do I have to do? What's next? And I'm like, holy crap, I don't know how you survive. I don't know what you do to do what you do. But I knew I can't find 100% of the time with the president himself, but who's the next person up that I can learn from and actually absorb was Mama T, right? And I called her Mama Teresa because she was just a lovely person who you could talk
Yep.
to about anything, and she's there to listen to you, and she's listened to me about numerous things, and I'm super grateful for her time until this day. Uh, but to learn from her on how she manages not only her time, the president's time, uh, people emailing some crazy stuff, people walking in acting like they can have whatever will they want. I mean, the level of professionalism, the level of paying attention to every single detail. You miss one thing and you could be screwed, right? So I think it was one of the coolest experiences until this day. I can't even imagine what it takes to run an institution of that 35,000 people
Mm-hmm.
caliber, plus staff, plus faculty, and all that. And so, I mean, that was probably some of the coolest things I've ever done on campus.
Talk about someone who never had any time and always took the time. Like, we just got to shout out Teresa for a minute because,
Right.
like, she didn't miss anything. And at the same time, she was always there. Like, you know how sometimes people are busy and so, like, they might be in the room, but it doesn't feel like they're in the room? She always felt like she was in the room.
Not only that, too, the coolest thing, and I genuinely mean this, there are people they got pretty higher up role, and they don't need to give you the time of the day. They don't need to
Mm-hmm.
talk to you. They don't need to say hi to you. President Randall, anytime he walked in, he would stop, smile at me, and just ask me how you doing, right? Doesn't need to do that. Vice President of Academic Affairs, right? Stop, take a second, look at me. Mama Teresa would sit down and have a conversation with me, right? I mean, who am I? I'm just a student, right? And it's like, if they're willing to do that, it shows a lot about the character, which makes the whole experience, I think, even worth it.
Well, I think it what we're talking about, right, is this like you deserve to be there. And if you deserve to be there, you can ask that person for every question they have until they're ready to go see Martell or Teresa or Taylor or anybody else, like, because they said I could be here.
Right.
And like when I think about like this is how we're gonna land the plane. Because what mentorship does is tell you you deserve to be in the room.
100%. 100%.
I have like standard. Okay, now I'm gonna do the thing I told you I wanted to do, which is, I'm gonna say the first part of a sentence, and you got to finish the sentence. Okay.
Love it. Let's do it.
Okay. A mentor should always.
Wow. I gotta give you a good one. A mentor should always ask, how are you actually doing? And I know it sounds corny, sounds maybe very surface level, but some of the best mentors to ask me, and I remember one of my mentors did this to me. I walk in, he's like, "All right, what's going on, man?" And I just start talking about work, right? I'm like, "All
Yeah.
right." He's like, "I don't care. That can wait. How are you actually doing?" And when you break down the actual rule of how someone is actually doing outside of work, outside of their day-to-day activities and job, what are you struggling with? What can I be helpful with? I think that's some of the best things a mentor can actually do.
I remember where I'm standing when mentors have asked me that question like that. And I think just to your point, like we make this feel more complicated than it is. Okay. The most underrated part of mentorship is
The free food. I'm kidding. I love it.
Amen. I love it. Next one. Hard conversations are.
Ooh. Hard conversations are the things you're uncomfortable to talk about. I think the being comfortable, being uncomfortable in situations like that, or what actually takes the person to the next level.
Comfort will kill you, and I have really strong feelings about that. So we said that. That's true. We're gonna just, yeah. Uh,
Love
if
it.
you, no, I'm gonna skip that one. Legacy in one word.
Legacy in one word.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, impact.
Mm.
If I haven't made an impact, I haven't made a legacy.
I don't think you can have one without the other. There's a whole song about that. Oh, that's love and marriage. Never mind. Okay.
Impact is still in love and marriage.
Okay, closing question. What's one thing you wish more people understood about asking for help?
Wow, that's powerful. One thing uh, I think sometimes we think our problems are too big or too small for us to receive help in, but sometimes our ignorance, our ability to not understand our problem, someone has faced it in this world, is truly unbelievable. Whether that's, navigating a new system, a new language, every problem you're going through, whether it is the smallest thing or the highest thing, someone's been through it, and it's never too small or never too big.
And I love that you picked on both of those, right? Like, either I'm drowning in this and no one could understand, or like, I can't bother you with this. And like, both are wrong. They're both are equally wrong. But I think sometimes when you're drowning in that space, like, we can't see. And like, when I think about, I guess if I had to answer like mentorship in one word, it's perspective. Because I
Right.
think it's so easy to like, this is what we see. And what a mentor does or should do or can do is say, but what about this? And what about this? And actually back there was a whole thing. like
Yeah.
like what mentorship is trusted perspective, or what it should be, or what it can be at its best. I really appreciate that. Time flew. I literally have pages of other
Wow.
questions I
Yeah.
could have asked you, I could have talked about. So I will inevitably be pestering you again to come back. This was incredible. It was great to see your face.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's amazing. And I'll end off one last thing. I know you
Yeah,
didn't ask for it,
go ahead.
but it's something I've been told consistently, and it's something I like to tell anybody anytime I like to share it. It's a quote by Albert Einstein. It goes as, I believe, as follow. Imagination is everything. It is a preview of life's coming attraction. And the reason why I like to share that is if you can't imagine it, you can't do it. I remember growing up, I had that imagination of being an entrepreneur. I had that imagination of going to college and graduating from there. Some of the hardest things I've done, I was able to imagine it. Some of the things I have not till this day, I haven't accomplished it, is for some reason I cannot imagine it, and that's the reason why I haven't accomplished it. So if you can imagine it, it's gonna happen.
We're going to have a whole the next conversation you and I are going to have is specifically about the phenomena called aphantasia, which is people who
Okay?
can and cannot envision things.
Right.
And I think it's incredibly important. And like, I will tell you, the times where I have been the most lost or the most confused are when I've had to look at something like, I can't see it. Like, I normally know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. I know what the plan is. I know what the hopes and dreams are. I like, they're sorted, they're stacked. They're plug and play, right? Like, I know when it's time.
Right.
And the times I can't see that are the most confusing, alienating, distancing, paralyzing. So I look forward to having that conversation too.
I do too.
Man, it's great to see you. I can't wait to be in Salt Lake. I want to try to catch you the next time I'm there. It'll be great to see you in real life. But thank you so much for taking the time.
Of course, thank you for having me. I'm excited. Hopefully, to see how this turns out, and hopefully, there's some good conversation that some people can learn from.
It was perfect. It was wonderful. Happy Monday night. And I'll talk to you soon.
See ya. Take care.
Bye.